Well, today it's story time with Chavaleh, and I'm going to read a great story, one that has inspired sci-fi movies, apocalyptic films, and some great writing, and certainly inspires a lot of dark imagination. I'm going to read Daniel chapter 7 this morning. Enjoy. In the first year of King Belshazzar of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and a vision of his head as he lay in bed. Then he wrote down the dream. I, Daniel, saw in my vision by night the four winds of heaven stirring up the great sea, and four great beasts came up out of the sea, different from one another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Then, as I watched, its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a human being. And a human mind was given to it. Another beast appeared, a second one that looked like a bear. It was raised up on one side, had 3 tusks in its mouth among its teeth, and was told, "Arise, devour many bodies." After this, as I watched, another appeared like a leopard. The beast had 4 wings of a bird on its back and 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this, I saw in the visions by night a 4th beast, terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth and was devouring, breaking in pieces, and stamping what was left with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that preceded it, and it had 10 horns. I was considering the horns when another horn appeared, a little one coming up among them to make room for it. 3 of the earlier horns were plucked up by the roots. There were eyes like human eyes in this horn, and a mouth speaking arrogantly. As I watched, thrones were set in place, and an ancient one took his throne. His clothing was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was fiery flames, and its wheels were burning fire. A stream of fire issued and flowed out from his presence. 1,000,000 served him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood attending him. The court stood in judgment, and the books were opened. I watched then, because of the noise of the arrogant words that the horn was speaking. And as I watched, the beast was put to death, and its body destroyed and given over to be burned with fire. As for the rest of the beasts, their dominion was taken away, but their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. As I watched in the night visions, I saw one like a human being, coming with the clouds of heaven, and he came to the Ancient One and was presented before him. To him was given dominion and glory and kingship, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that shall not pass away, and his kingship is one that shall never be destroyed. As for me, Daniel, my spirit was troubled within me, and the visions of my head terrified me. I approached one of the attendants to ask him the truth concerning all this. So he said that he would disclose to me the interpretation of the matter. As for these 4 great beasts, 4 kings shall arise out of the earth, but the holy ones of the Most High shall receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, forever and ever. Then I desired to know the truth concerning the 4th beast, which was different from all the rest, exceedingly terrifying, with its teeth of iron and claws of bronze, which devoured and broke into pieces and stamped with what was left with its feet. And concerning the 10 horns which were on its head, and concerning the other horn, which came up, and to make room for which 3 of them fell out, the horn that had eyes and a mouth that spoke arrogantly, and that seemed greater than the others. As I looked, This horn made war with the holy ones and was prevailing over them until the Ancient One came. Then judgment was given for the holy ones of the Most High, and the time arrived when the holy ones gained possession of the kingdom. And this is what he said: "As for the fourth beast, there shall be a fourth kingdom on earth that shall be different from all the other kingdoms. It shall devour the whole earth and trample it down and break it into pieces. As for the 10 horns, out of this kingdom 10 kings shall arise, and another shall arise after them. This one shall be different from the former ones, and shall put down 3 kings. He shall speak words against the Most High, shall wear out the holy ones of the Most High, and shall attempt to change the sacred seasons and the law. And they shall be given into his power for a time, 2 times, and half a time. Then the court shall sit in judgment, and his dominion shall be taken away, to be consumed and totally destroyed. The kingship and dominion and the greatness of the kingdoms under whole heaven shall be given to the people of the holy ones of the Most High. Their kingdom shall be an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey them." Here the account ends. "As for me, Daniel, my thoughts greatly terrified me, and my face turned pale, but I kept the matter in my mind." And that is the 7th chapter of the book of Daniel. I love the apocalyptic literature of the Bible. And maybe it's some weird piece of me that just has glee at the strange things the images do to my head. And maybe it's because in apocalyptic literature, I find hope. Those beasts, they were there in the time of Daniel. They were there in so many times of the world, and they're here now. My husband Lim and I were talking yesterday about how everything happening right now just seems to be layer upon layer upon layer. And he reflected that what we're experiencing right now and what so many people are experiencing might be similar to how people felt in the American Midwest during the Dust Bowl and the Depression. Everything just kept piling up. I think the point of Lim's reflection yesterday morning and of the book of Daniel and other apocalyptic literature is that these times happen. Our world is built in seasons. We have our seasons of summer, fall, and winter and spring. We have seasons of life. We have seasons to our emotions. And all of these things ebb and flow, come and pass. And these seasons that feel like terrifying end times, they do too. They come in cycles in our world and in our culture and in our lives. What apocalyptic literature shows us is not some far away or even nearby final time, but it shows us that there are times in the human narrative and in our history that feel, as Daniel said, terrifying, and change our mindsets and put our hearts at distress. And we look out everywhere and it seems like one beast comes after another. And we're in that season. I don't think that we can look out at the hurricanes happening or the smoke in the air around me or the dingy quality of my love wins sign and say, this is a great time. No, it feels like something epic. It feels like the condensing of an epoch. And what apocalyptic literature like Daniel reminds us is that those happen. But the reminders are even greater. What I take away from the story of Daniel and from every other story like that in the Bible that inspires sci-fi and drama and incredible imagery in our minds is that the monsters are there, but so are the people of God. The holy ones of the Most High are hanging on, maybe by a thread, and maybe they're scared, but they're there, and they remain faithful. They see the horns taking away their sacred spaces, taking away the laws of God and replacing them with laws of evil, but they are steadfast. They keep their vision cast on the Most High, on the Ancient One. Our God in Daniel and today is that Ancient One whose dominion has no end. Yes, the seasons change for a time and 2 times and half a time, but the end of that season is always the same, a brighter season of hope and love and dominion of the Most High. Apocalyptic literature shows us that these seasons come and they go, and they teach us to keep the faith. And that's where our hope lies. I hope that you've enjoyed Storytime with Chavaleh today. I hope that you'll look at some other apocalyptic literature in the Bible and take those monsters on and take this season on and look to God, because a new season is coming. Amen.